Okay, so for this problem, just like number one, the first thing we're going to do is take this constant and move it to the opposite side. So I have y subtract 5. And now the next thing is whenever the leading coefficient, so the number in front of x squared in this situation, is anything other than positive 1, we need to factor that value out. So I'm going to ask myself, I guess I didn't need to put that on yet, put it over here. So if I take negative 1/4 times 1, I end up with negative 1/4. And then the x squared comes down. Now this is sometimes a little bit trickier for students. So in this case, you're going to ask yourself, what value can I take times negative 1/4 and I end up with a positive 1? And so sometimes it takes students a little more time to get that. Remember, we want to end up with a positive. And I factor out a negative. So a negative times a negative is a positive. And negative 4 times negative 1/4, or think of it as negative 4 divided by negative 4, gives us a positive 1. Don't forget the x. Okay, now how do we achieve this missing number? We're going to take whatever the b value is and keep the sign with it, divide it always by 2 and square it. I need to see this work when you're doing it. So negative 2 squared. This value goes in here, so positive 4, but I didn't just add positive 4 to the right-hand side. I need to keep the equation balanced. I actually added negative 1/4 times positive 4. And when we multiply across, we get negative 4/4, which is negative 1. So I actually added a value of negative 1 to the right, so I need to add a value of negative 1 to the left. Y minus 6, I have a negative 1/4 out front. And then remember, there's a shortcut to doing this. We take whatever's inside the parentheses here and drop it down. So x minus 2 quantity squared. Our first goal is to rewrite this in vertex form, and I've done just that. Y equals negative 1/4, x minus 2 quantity squared plus 6. And if you're thinking, like, how do I know if this is correct? What can I do? So I'm going to take and I'm going to put in the original function. Anytime I have parentheses, I like to put those, anytime I have fractions, I like to put them in parentheses, plus x plus 5, and I'm going to graph it. That's my red function, and now it doesn't matter if I put it in as y1 or y sub 2. And I'm going to put in what I've transformed it to become, which is negative 1/4, and then it's x minus 2 quantity squared plus 6. And we can see that they are the exact same points. So I believe that I've correctly rewritten this function, which is standard form, into a vertex form. Next is, let's identify the vertex. So the vertex for this function is positive 2, positive 6. So I'm going to come over here, and they're such small. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here is 2, 6. And then if I look back here, I can see what my actual y-intercept is. Y-intercept is at 0, 5. So we have a y-intercept at 0, 5. Now let's do the x-intercepts. Now I definitely could use the quadratic formula to solve, because this is in standard form. A is negative 1/4, B is 1, and C is 5. I'm going to come back over here, and another alternative is to make y equal to 0, and now we're going to solve for x. And in solving for x, I am identifying the x-intercepts of this function. So let's start by subtracting 6 to the other side. Negative 6 equals negative 1/4 times the quantity x minus 2 squared. Now I need to remove the negative 1/4, so I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. And the 4s and the 4s, a lot of you think they cancel. Really, they're going to reduce down to a 1. So on the right-hand side, I have x minus 2 quantity squared. And on the left-hand side, I have negative 24 over negative 1. Negative 24 over negative 1 is simply positive 24. Two answers, plus or minus. And now I'm going to break down the square root of 24. So I'm going through this, and I already know in my head what it is, but we're going to go 24 divided by, and the first perfect square that's below 24 is 16. That doesn't work. 24 divided by 9 doesn't work, but 24 divided by 4 does work. So 24 breaks into 4 times 6. 4 is the perfect square. So 2 square roots of 6, and now we add 2 to the opposite side. I have 2 plus or minus 2 square roots of 6. These are my other two x-intercepts. How do we graph this? As we went over in number 1, this is our basic formula. We have 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4, and we have the negatives. Now, the number up front is a negative 1/4, and whether you're looking at it in vertex form or you're looking at standard form, it's still a negative 1/4. So I need to take that leading coefficient times the y values. So that's like just dividing by negative 4. 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1. 1 divided by negative 4 is negative 1/4. 0, negative 1/4, and negative 1. How does this help me? This is my 0, 0. So I've done that. I'm going to go to the right one and down 1/4. So right 1, down 1/4. That's really hard to do. Then I'm going to go right 2 and down 1. Right 2 and down 1. I'm going to go left 1, down 1/4, left 1, down 1/4, and left 2, down 1. Left 2, down 1, and we have something that looks like this.